Time to take a look at what's grabbing headlines here in France. And let's start with French politics.
Hey, Julia.
Hey, how are you, Flo?
All right, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So I'm really eager to talk about the official deadline for prospective presidential candidates. I think a lot of people in Anglophone countries are wondering what this is.
What is it? Well, in France, anyone can be a presidential candidate so long as they gather 500 signatures of support from elected officials, so mayors and MPs, etc. These are called parrainages in France, and it's a big deal because today is the deadline to file these parrainages with the Constitutional Council. So you can read about it on the front page of Nord-Éclair, which is a paper from the Lille region. Now, there are lots of these signatures across the country. There are about 40,000 signatures to go around, but there's some rules. For instance, the signatures must be spread across at least 30 different departments, so geographically around France, and you can't get more than 50 signatures per department. So it can be a little tricky. Now, what's interesting is most mainstream candidates have these signatures, and they've had them for months now. But it's really a race against time for smaller candidates. And so you can see here Nord-Éclair saying it's the last day. As I said, 6 p.m. is the deadline.
I see. And then after that, these signatures are made public and then updated on the Constitutional Council's website.
They are. And in fact, they've been updated regularly as these signatures have been coming in. Let's take a look at this website. You can see les parrainages validés. So these are the ones that have been validated per candidate. It's kind of a little slow to come down here. But you can see all the various people who are hoping to run for president. Some candidates, you might have seen François Fillon there. He has nearly 3,000 of these signatures. So no problem for him. Others are struggling, though. There's a really interesting article in La République des Pyrénées, so a Pyrenees paper, about an MP. You can see a photo of him here. This is Jean Lassalle. Now, he's quite a colorful character in French politics. He gets a lot of media attention.
And why.
He's hoping to run for election. Now, he has about 450 signatures currently, so he's missing 50. And he posted this video. You can see a screenshot of it on Facebook. Shirtless. Might see he's trimming some bushes here. And in this video, he says he's giving his signature because he's an MP, so he has a signature to give. He's giving it to Philippe Poutou from the extreme left party, but hoping he'll get his 50 remaining signatures to be able to run for president.
I see. So it's quite an unusual presidential election. Mainstream parties struggling to attract voters, so it's outsiders are.
Such a volatile election, Julia. Who knows what is going to happen? But what's for sure is it could be the first time in a really long time that neither of the mainstream parties, so on the left, the Socialist Party, or Les Républicains on the right, it could be the first time in a long time that neither of them make it to round two. You can read a really interesting article about this in Le Monde today that says you can see France is in the middle of a major crisis of its whole political party system. We're witnessing a decomposition and unraveling of the current system. But Le Monde takes quite a positive spin on this and says, look, we're unraveling to reconstruct a new political system. Who knows what the final result of this system will be, but it will certainly be a change from what we have now.
Okay, so meanwhile, the 5 main candidates are going to face off on a TV debate on Friday.
On Monday, yeah,
It's
the one that everyone is looking forward to. This is a first in French politics because usually these debates happen between the two rounds, between the two final contenders for that second round. So this is the first time that there will be a debate before the first round. You can read about it on the front page of L'Opinion today. They're talking about la télé commande, so it's a play on words. It means the TV is in command. Essentially, it's because we're living in a TV communication world that they're holding this debate. But also, la télécommande, that's a remote control in France. Now, you can see this cartoon by CAC. It's a really funny cartoon. You can see the 3 former presidents, soon-to-be former president, François Hollande, Jacques Chirac, and Nicolas Sarkozy here, all watching this debate together. Now, you can see Nicolas Sarkozy and François Hollande not looking so happy about it. Jacques Chirac looks pretty thrilled, and he's saying, who wants a Corona? Because Jacques Chirac apparently is a big fan of Coronas.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. So now let's move on to other French news, and papers are reacting to that shooting yesterday in Grasse.
Let's take a look at Nice Matin, so regional paper focusing on this terror in high school. So several students and a head teacher were wounded in this shooting. A lot of attention, of course, on the shooter who's been identified as 16-year-old Killian. You can find out more about him inside Nice Matin. So you can see they describe him as a teenager from a good family who was obsessed with firearms and mass murders. Apparently, investigators have found that he had a YouTube channel where he uploaded videos about the Columbine High School massacre in 1999.
Okay. Meanwhile, French authorities say that the head teacher managed to reason with the gunman.
Apparently,
before
the head
getting
teacher
shot
was, after being shot,
Yeah.
managed to stop the rampage in its tracks. So this head teacher is also getting a lot of attention, a lot of praise in the papers. Le Parisien today says that what we really avoided was a U.S.-style massacre. This could have been a U.S.-style school shooting. You can see they're talking about le modèle américain here. Yesterday's events were both worrying and reassuring. Worrying because this would have been the first U.S.-style school shooting in France. Clearly, the shooter, according to Le Parisien, wanted to reproduce this kind of massacre in France. But it's reassuring because France has very strict gun laws. In its editorial, Le Parisien says, what would have happened at this high school if the shooter, Killian, had access to weapons, war weapons, like you can have access to in the States?
Okay, well, that's it. I think we've all got time for that. But thank you very much for that,
Thanks, Julie.
Florence. I'll see you in a bit.